Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Bill, here as always with Scott. How are you doing, sir?
I'm currently a little tired, but I am eagerly anticipating the weekend.
Why? What's going on this weekend?
We got plans this weekend.
Who?
You and I.
Me?
And the wives.
What?
Yeah. We're going to a retrocon convention and also looking forward hesitantly to Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Hesitantly.
I'm not expecting great things.
I've heard it's all right.
So here's the thing. Venice Film Festival is going on right now. So Variety's been dropping articles about all the movies coming out. Beetlejuice was one of them. I didn't want to click on it, but I was just like, oh, Variety, they have reputable stuff. And I clicked on it and I was just like, I didn't want to read that. I didn't read a whole lot of it, but I just don't want this to be Ghostbusters.
Oof. Did I tell you I watched that again the other day?
You mentioned last week.
Did
yeah.
I? Ugh,
yeah.
God, it's bad. Yeah, I don't want it to be Ghostbusters Frozen Empire either. Like, it really puts a bad taste in your mouth if you love these franchises.
Yeah. But the RetroCon on Saturday down in Oaks, Pennsylvania, I do a commercial, but it's pointless because you're only going to hear this 2 days after the fact. We're down there and see our buddy Will Padilla from 1980s Now. He was a guest on, I don't know, like episode 10 maybe?
Yeah. What are we up to? We're up to like 88 or 89.
We're pushing 90, that's for sure. Let's see if you bastards can do 90.
If you bastards can do 90.
Very good.
So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be there. He has a panel that morning. He has his 1980s Now podcast. His crew's going to be there. So we'll go meet up with him. He's a Ohio guy, I guess. So weird that he's in our backyard. It'd be a missed opportunity to not go see him.
Why, oh, did I ever leave Ohio?
I've known him for a while through other podcasts, too. He's been doing this show for a while.
Yeah. 1980s Now, I think they're on like maybe season 8, maybe longer.
Wow.
He's been doing it for a long time.
So what's he doing at the con? Do you know? Like, is he signing autographs at a booth? Is he speaking?
I don't think that's his intention. If you want him to sign something, I'm sure he will. But he does have a panel where they're going to do... One of the funner episodes that he does are like true crime podcasts. Like he did like the real story of Cocaine Bear. That's where I learned about Woody Harrelson's dad being a part of, like a hitman being a part of it. He also does... There's also a hilarious part where a guy eats a parrot. Like a fried chicken, like he just eats like a grilled parrot.
What? In what?
What?
Yeah, when they were doing the cocaine pickup from, I guess, whatever island they flew down to, while they were there, one of the henchmen of the head guy ate like a parrot. Like it was just food to eat. And he got like severe intestinal distress on the flight on the way back and like shit himself, I guess. I don't know. There's a whole story. Go listen to it. The real story of Cocaine Bear may be better than the theatrical version that we got last year.
See, people, you learn so much on this show. You learn never to eat a parrot.
Don't eat parrot. Yeah, in case you were ever tempted. But that's something I learned from Will and his team. But he might be doing like a true crime type reading, almost like a live podcast at this panel that he has. And I guess the rest of the time he's just hanging out at the con and saying hi to people that come see him. He has a huge following on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, you've never been to one of these nerd cons before, have you?
Nerd cons are exactly what Jenna's calling it. She's like, oh, are we going to Nerd Con on Saturday? I think you were like, is that what it's called? I was like, no, that's just what she calls it. No, not really. I've been to like comic book shows when I was a kid. I was probably too young to appreciate it for what it is, but Lee Majors is going to be at this thing signing. Patsy Weber's going to be there. Fucking, what's his name? Ansel.
Yeah, I still don't know it. I saw it on the sheet.
Fuck.
I fucked it up last time I was trying to remember. Handsome.
Something Adams?
Ugh.
No, important.
Anson Williams. Anson
Williams. Patsy Weber. That's him. He's going to be there. You can get your picture with Patsy.
Ralph Mouth, he's there.
He's there. The Bionic Woman is there. So you can get both the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman in the same photo if you really wanted to. But all these things, like looking at that poster, what am I going to do with that photo? Honestly.
What poster? Look at what poster?
On the website for RetroCon, they show it's almost like done up like a 1980s like concert poster. It has like all the people you can meet and like the meeting times and the photo opportunities. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, they're probably going to charge me $40, if not more. And what the fuck am I going to do with that photo? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel bad for these people.
The lines are going to be out the door. That's the crazy thing.
But I don't know who I feel worse for, the celebrity that's no longer a celebrity or the people that are clamoring to meet the former celebrity. Because their story got to be worse.
Yeah, I got a buddy who I don't really talk to anymore, but he was one of these collectors, and he would stand in line forever. Who's the friend of John Ritter on Three's Company? Jack. Like, he stood in line for Jack one day for like 3 hours, got all this stuff signed. I'm like, what are you going to do with all this junk?
When this individual got their photo taken with Jack from Three's Company, did he do the shocker symbol?
Yeah, you know what
I know who you're talking about. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I never got it. He's standing in line, and I'm just like, I want to do other shit.
Yeah.
So I've been to a lot of these cons, and usually with him and my buddy Paul, who I talk about.
Yeah.
And they used to just be incredible. I mean, there were so many people. There's one around here called Monster Mania. There's one up closer to New York called Chiller.
You went to Chiller every year for a while there.
It was my thing.
Yeah.
And it was great. The celebrities you saw there, all of them were there.
Yeah, but you used to tell me about like, oh yeah, you should come up. It's going to be great. So-and-so's going to be there. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't sound like my scene, man.
It didn't used to be. It used to be like Lou Ferrigno sitting next to like Burt Reynolds, sitting next to Larry Hagman. All these people like you could start a conversation with. Now it's like the third guy that was in the Robbie the Robot suit in season 3 of Lost in Space, you know?
This is also where you lost your lady friend to one Eric Estrada.
Eric Estrada. That's right. That's a handful of episodes back. But I used to love those things, especially when there was somebody that really you were, inspired by as a kid. But, I like the Fall Guy. That's a pretty good get. I don't think he does a lot of these things.
But they're really billing him as the $6 million man. I guess probably because they have the woman.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think of him as Fall Guy.
Yeah, you're right. The picture's probably going to be $300. So
that's insane.
You got to be a massive fan to want to spend that money. But I don't think these people are massive fans. I think they just are collectors of autographs and experiences. The experience of standing next to this person and putting their arm around him or something.
Yeah, that's so weird to me. You and I had an amazing conversation while smoking a cigar after we recorded last week about how the more time goes on, like we used to like make such a big deal out of actors and writers and directors. And like now there's not that kind of greatness put on people in Hollywood.
No, nobody knew.
Yeah. But like, if they're treated like they're such a special thing and such a rarity and such a skill. And like, I don't think youth of today are viewing celebrity that way for Hollywood people. And I think I asked you, I was like, do you think it's because now with YouTube, like anybody that has an idea can just put it out? And a lot of times it's good. Like, are we seeing behind the curtain? Is the great and powerful Oz not that powerful?
Yeah, I don't know. I watch a lot of like Zoom interviews with people that I never had access to before because the internet gives everybody the chance to be interviewed by anybody at their house. So the idea of going and seeing a celebrity isn't so exciting when you can just go on YouTube and, probably get a better interview than just what you're going to get when you actually see the guy for a hot second as you give him $50 and you take a picture with him.
And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, what the fuck would I do? So a few weeks back, I went to go meet this was back before I went on vacation. I met like a world-class, world champion barbecue chef. And I'm standing in line and Jenna says to me, are you going to get something signed? And I said, well, no. Like, what would I do with that? Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And she goes, you want me to take your picture? And I said, well, no, like, what would I do with that? And she's like, well, you better think of something fast. You're next in line. And I got up there, I was like, hey, man, really appreciate the YouTube channel and congratulations on winning nationals. I was like, and I walked away real awkwardly. And I was like, why did I just fucking stand in line for 2 minutes to meet this guy? And that was just 2 minutes. But like, what do I need that, memorabilia for?
My buddy Paul, who I used to do these things with, he had the greatest move and he would kill me with this. He'd be like, meeting somebody, because I was always the last guy to walk up to somebody. He'd walk right up, hey, man, what's up? And just start a conversation, because that's how Paul is. And his favorite thing to do would be like, hey, Flavor Flav, this is Bill. He's your biggest fan. And then Flavor Flav would look at me, and I'm like, I don't know nothing about you, man.
That's a real fuck over for you.
Yeah, it was a good move. So I always hovered way in the back.
Bill's like, oh, clock, huh?
Yeah. Like,
what do you say?
I have nothing to say to these guys. Like, I admire your work. Well, everybody's just said that to you today. I don't want to get to know you.
Right. This isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, we're not on a date, This isn't going to turn into an opportunity for me outside of, hey, remember that time I met Flavor Flav for a hot second at a hotel at a con?
I think I said something else stupid to the barbecue guy, too. I was like, so how's PA treating you? He was like, so far, so good. I was like, right on, man.
Yeah, I know. It's awkward. It's small talk.
Dumb.
The last time I was at Oaks at this show, and this is a small one. This isn't a big one at all.
Yeah.
But Alice Cooper was there. So I went. And I never stand in line, but I did because I adore Alice Cooper.
I think I would care about Alice Cooper.
Would you?
I think so.
But I had a million questions in my head, but I had like 2 seconds. He was signing a comic book that I was taking. It was an Alice Cooper Marvel comic book.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? I'm like, hey man, I just want you to know, like, I've listened to everything you've done. From your first albums with the band to your solo stuff to the Blackout albums, everything. And he just looks at me like awkwardly and goes, well, cool, man. We're all inspired by something. And I'm like, well, that's awkward. I don't know what to say to that. And he signed my shit and I just moved on. So my memory now of my meeting with Alice Cooper was just like him kind of brushing me off.
I want to think that in his mind, as you're saying all this, he's like, what the fuck do I say to that?
Yeah. He was as awkward and uncomfortable.
He felt as uncomfortable as you did. Right.
But these guys just have to sit there and just talk to the nerds that are walking up and being like, Tom Wopat, I loved you in Dukes of Hazzard. Now, season 3, episode 6, when you jumped over the Boss Hog's car, and Tom Wopat's going, no, I don't remember, dude. It was a day on the set. It was my job.
That reminds me of the Simpsons episode where Homer became Poochie on the Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie show, and he had to go to a con, and they were like, episode 4, in one scene you had a can in your left hand, and the next scene it was clearly in your right hand. How would you explain that, sir?
That's funny. Yeah, that's how these are. You're going to see it tomorrow. Well, Saturday.
Yeah.
In 2 days.
I don't know, man. Like, I think I'm going to feel awkward. And not for me, but for things I'm seeing. I'm going to feel awkward by association.
Yeah. Well, everyone's dressed up now. These days, like the last 10 years.
You think there's be cosplayers
Tons. It's not just a Comic-Con thing. It didn't used to be that way. You used to see, like, every once in a while, you got, like, because there were horror cons that I like to go to. Like, somebody had a really good Jason costume. Everybody else was just wearing a dopey hockey mask.
Right.
Now everybody's fully decked out. That'll be cool to see.
Oh, my God. Like, as an adult, I've been to like some beer fests and stuff like that. Like I said, I've been to some sports card shows and stuff like that when I was a kid in comic book shows, but nobody dressed up for that. What would you even dress up for this? Like whatever you've been working on?
Yeah.
Like no holds barred. You could just dress up like whatever.
You'll see everything. You'll see a guy dressed like Spider-Man. You'll see a guy dressed like Strawberry Shortcake. I don't know what you'll see.
Man. I was not planning on cosplayers. Because this is really looking like it's going to be like a toy show.
There's a lot of that too, yeah.
Like I'm thinking He-Man and GoBots and Transformers and probably 3.75 Star Wars figures we're going to be seeing.
Even more, like looking around, I know the people at home can't see this, but like that Jason thing probably came from a con. Those little action figures, little tin movie posters, things like that you can't get elsewhere. But they're usually bootleg.
So things that people like make or buy wholesale and then just travel around with and like resell?
That's it.
Really?
Yeah, like a flea market. They just pop it up. They throw everything into that booth. They try to sell it. They don't sell whatever they don't sell. They just pack up, throw in the car, and move on to the next con and try to sell more.
Gypsies.
They're gypsies. They're 100% gypsies. And they all have interesting shit, but a lot of it's like a VHS tape of a bootleg of something from the 80s, like stuff that they're never going to sell unless they meet that one person who's looking for it.
And it's priced out of control, I'm sure.
I can't remember. Yeah, it all depends on what you're getting. I know I was always after this one thing. It was like $300. And I was like, I don't have the money. And now that I have the money, I never see it there, But it's a Frank Zappa figure. Like it's a little of everything at these nerd cons.
I don't want to sound like a cheapskate, but I can go to a farmer's market or a flea market for nothing. Now I'm paying $20 to get into this place just to spend more money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And meet Lee Majors.
For
$300 more. You know what? Maybe I'm only looking forward to Beetlejuice now.
Oh, no, the nerd con
I
will
want
be
to see
fun.
Will. I do want to see Will. That'll be fun. But I'm just going to walk around like a stranger in a strange land. Not that I'm not a nerd. I fully own my nerddom, but I think I keep it under wraps okay?
I get nervous with some of these guys from the 80s. I
like
get really nervous.
Fanatical.
You know how many people I've met in Hollywood, they usually don't knock me down at all, but when I'm at some of these nerd cons, like I was walking by William Catt, the greatest American hero from Carrie.
Believe it or not,
and he looked at me and he was kind of like, he was trying to make a contact, like, hey man. And I got nervous and I looked away. Like I was all shy. Yeah.
Really?
Some of these old guys that I grew up watching, like they still get me.
Wow.
Like they still make me kind of nervous. They don't get me. Bill, I get you. You've been seen. So I'm thinking about it now. Yeah, there are sometimes I get a little nervous with these old school celebrities. But anybody new, if I bumped into Tom Cruise, I don't think I'd feel any. I I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger on the pier in Santa Monica. And I was like, oh, cool. There's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's
I walked by William Catt. I'm like, I can't talk.
Hamana.
Oh,
well,
man.
we'll see what it's all about, man. It should be a good day out.
I always wonder when you get like, when are you going to get Tom Cruise at these things? When are you going to get somebody who's big?
I feel like Tom Cruise got fuck you money. Unless he gave it all to Scientology, I don't think we're ever going to see him at a con.
No, I don't know, man. I've seen like Val Kilmer at cons.
Well, yeah, he's the other side of Top Gun. I mean, he was not Tom Cruise from Top Gun.
But he's a pretty big name to be at a con.
He is.
Burt Reynolds was at one. They had a Laverne and Shirley one before Penny Marshall died.
About, what was the other guys' names? Twiggy and the neighbors?
Yeah. Lenny and Squiggy?
Lenny and Squiggy. Not
I'm sure
Twiggy.
they've been there. Beady. That guy?
That's who you would expect to see.
That's who's going to be there this year. The guy that did Beady. There's a lot of cartoon voices there.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the biggest names I've seen at these cons. I've seen I remember, oh God, I walked up to Corey Haim and offered to buy him a drink. I didn't know he was on the wagon.
He's sober?
Yeah, that was awkward. In the old days, you used to be able to, if you were a drinker like I was, and you hang out and outweigh everybody else, the celebrities are at the bar. Then you just hang out with them. You start hearing all kinds of stories because people get loose. When they're drinking, they're telling tales out of school. And it's like, whoa, tell me more. So I don't think that's happening much anymore. But that was the fun of the cons back when I was younger. Man, I'm just thinking of everybody who I used to see. And now it's Lee Majors. That's a get. Paul Rubens would be a good one.
Oh, that would be incredible.
He was at some of them. Robert Englund was there once in a while.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that was the biggest kind of names we got. We never did get a Tom Cruise or anything like that.
No.
We never got a Kevin Bacon.
Oh.
Speaking of Kevin Bacon, we were talking the other day about that 6 separations of Kevin Bacon. Is that what
6
it's called?
degrees of Kevin Bacon, yeah.
You want to try a match?
Well, let's break it down for people that might not know what the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon are. So it's a game that was put together by 2 guys who, big Kevin Bacon fans, and basically they figured out that every person in Hollywood is separated by 6 connection points, by no more than 6 connection points back to Kevin Bacon. It was like Kevin Bacon was in this movie with this person, who was in this movie with this person, who was then starred in this movie with this person, and then they acted with this other person. There's 5 connection points to Kevin Bacon. And then they started like challenging each other to see if I could do it in 3 because you forgot about this movie over here who starred this person, and then it goes right to this person. And they're like, oh shit, you're right. And now the more movies that Kevin Bacon's in, the more, I think I mentioned when we were talking about he played Sebastian Shaw in that X-Men First Class movie. I said, well, now that he's in that movie with that many people that were in, a superhero movie, not MCU, but in one of the Fox, X-Men movies, the connection points are probably like halved for everybody.
Well, that's the great thing about Kevin Bacon. He's in so many things. He doesn't seem to be that picky. And because he's in so many things, he's the center of Hollywood. I mean, he's connected to everybody through 6 degrees.
And I think it was created by guys from Philly or maybe like Jersey or Delaware, like the tri-state area. And they picked Kevin Bacon because he's a local Philly guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I remember seeing these guys on a talk show. It may have even been like a local radio talk show, or maybe Good Day Philadelphia or something, like way back then when I was a kid. And I was like, who the fuck's going to know all that? So my problem with it, I mean, I'll gladly play your game. My problem with it is the people that he's in movies with, I can't remember all their filmography to know how I can get to the next one. So I'm not good at this game, but I'll see how I do.
Your memory's so good.
My problem is I can't think of anybody's fucking name, as this show has proven time and time again.
Well, I was thinking about how do we do this? And of course, I go right to AI and I say, hey, AI, we want to make a game on air about the Kevin Bacon thing. And it said, okay, here's a whole bunch of names and gave me the breakdown. So I got a cheat sheet.
Oh, okay.
So what I can do is I can give you a celebrity's name and we can play a couple rounds and see how you do.
Okay.
If you can get it at home, write in. Don't cheat. Don't be the asshole that looks it up and then sends me a text and sends me an email and it says, oh, I got it in 3 because I cheated. Don't be a cheater. But if somebody can beat Scott, send it in. I want to see how you get to a better answer than Scott in this game.
And we'll see how I do to determine how many of these actually make it to the air.
That's true. You do get first edit.
This might be a dud.
All right, you ready?
As ready as I'm going to be.
I like this one. This is one of my favorite people in Hollywood. Cheech Marin.
Oh, man. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be one of Cheech Marin's lesser known movies. It's not Cheech and Chong. I think it's probably going to be something like, because I don't know any of his co-stars except for Tommy Chong for the Cheech and Chong movies. Well, except for Tom Sizemore was in the one with him.
Tom Sizemore? Tom Skerritt.
Tom Skerritt was in the one with him.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Start there.
Okay, so I'll go Tom. I'm going to work backwards.
Okay.
So Cheech to Tom Skerritt, who was in Top Gun.
He was in Aliens. He was in...
Aliens. You giving me a hint that it's Aliens?
No.
Okay. I know him from Top Gun.
Yeah, he was in Top Gun. The way to play this is maybe connected to the next biggest star. So Tom Cruise. And it was Tom Cruise ever in something with Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, they were in the courtroom drama A Few Good Men.
Boom. So
you were there?
You did it in 4 connections.
Let's see. Kevin Bacon, Tom Cruise, Tom Skerritt.
Kevin Bacon, Tom Skerritt.
No, Kevin Bacon, Tom Cruise, Tom Skerritt, Cheech Marin. We're there.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's see what AI came up with.
Okay.
All right. AI's got Cheech Marin was in Up in Smoke with Stacy Keach. Stacy Keach was in American History X with Edward Norton. Edward Norton was in Birdman with Emma Stone. Emma Stone was in Crazy Stupid Love with Kevin Bacon. So they got 4 degrees, you got 4 degrees. It's a tie.
I like mine better. Mine were better movies. What was Tom Skerritt's name in that movie?
Strawberry.
Strawberry. Cousin Strawberry. That's right.
This one should go well with Kevin Bacon. John Hamm. Ham and Bacon.
Ham and Bacon.
How much do you know about John Hamm?
I know John Hamm from his work on Mad Men. I also know him from, he was doing one of the HBO shows. Oh, no, he was in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. He was the guy that kidnapped Kimmy Schmidt.
Okay.
So I don't know enough about him to. What was his biggest thing?
I just saw him in something not too long ago that was kind of surprising. It had a lot of stars in it, but I can't even remember. Yeah, Mad Men. He did that Fletch remake. I never saw that. I meant to watch that.
That is true. That was like a Amazon Prime thing, right?
I don't know. That came in wet. That was a bomb.
Fletch. Fuck. How do I get the bacon and ham? So this is my problem. I can't figure out what the other person's big circles were, you know?
All right. Well, we'll call it.
Okay, please.
All right, because I'm looking at this one. This was pretty tough. So John Hamm was in Mad Men with Elizabeth Moss.
Okay.
You know who that is?
She's the one that was in that Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
Yeah.
But here she was in The Invisible Man. Did you ever see that? That was pretty good.
The Invisible Man with...
Elizabeth
that was Kevin
Moss.
Bacon.
No, that was what was that? That was a different
Hollow
thing.
Man.
Hollow Man, yeah. So Elizabeth Moss was in. Oh, this is tough. The Invisible Man with Oliver Jackson Cohen. I don't know who that is. Oliver Jackson Cohen was in Faster with Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson was in Pain and Gain with Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie was in The Hurt Locker with Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes was in Quiz Show with Kevin Bacon. Yeah, so this really went.
That went deep.
Yeah.
I never would have gotten
I couldn't have gone
there.
that deep either.
Fuck no.
Want to try one more?
I'll do one more. Don't make it 6 degrees. Is there any? Does it tell you how many degrees there are?
Well, there's many ways to get there.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I don't always follow that path.
How about one of our favorites, Morton Downey Jr.?
Okay.
I mean Robert Downey Jr.
I know who you mean.
That joke never gets old to us.
Oh, man. So Robert Downey Jr. was in some movies back in the day before his MCU thing. One of my favorites is Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Ooh, that's a blast from the past.
I don't know if I can connect that to Kevin Bacon anyway.
Well, Rodney was in Caddyshack. A lot of people in Caddyshack.
Rodney was in Caddyshack, who also stars Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Murray was in so much. Was Bill Murray ever in anything directly with Kevin Bacon you can think of?
I think Kevin Bacon played Slimer in the Ghostbusters movie.
I wouldn't doubt it. The guy's showing up everywhere. All right, let's go a different way. Let's say that Rodney Dangerfield was in Caddyshack, which also starred Chevy Chase. And Chevy Chase was in... I guess he was never in the Fletch movie with anybody else that would connect that I can think of. See, this is what happens. I go down a path and then I'm dangling.
All right, well, I could read you what AI came up with.
Do you have a different one?
Oh, it's got an answer.
Oh, do you have an answer, though?
Oh, no, I'm terrible at this. I'm as bad as you.
I'm not good.
Well, I'm going to leave this one open for the audience. The audience, if you could figure this out, I'm not going to tell you what this is. I want you to come up with your own.
Okay. That's fair.
But I'll tell you a little thing about where you were. You were close with Bill Murray.
Really?
Bill Murray was in Wild Things with Kevin Bacon.
I don't remember Wild Things.
Wasn't Wild Things with Kevin Dillon?
Yeah.
And Richards, female something Richards.
Denise Richards. Denise was married to Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I don't remember Kevin Bacon in it.
I don't either.
And then Nev Campbell was in it.
Yes.
It was a saucy movie.
Ooh, spicy.
So I guess Kevin Bacon was in that. And Bill Murray was in that?
I don't know. That's the thing about Kevin Bacon. He just shows up and does like these like little roles that he's there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's there.
But he's not like quintessential to moving the plot along. He's just, oh, hey, look, there's Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. I like his career. I like that he does that.
I do too.
He probably wakes up and is like, oh shit, I got to be on set today for The Smurfs 3. I guess my agent signed me up. Let me get a ride to the studio.
Do you know what every single Kevin Bacon appearance is for me? Do you remember in Thor Ragnarok when, I think maybe it was Thor 2. No, Thor Ragnarok, Thor 3, when they go back to Asgard and Odin's there watching a play and it's Matt Damon that's the actor.
Yeah, that's
and he's supposed to be like playing Chris Hemsworth. Everybody's like, what the fuck's Matt Damon doing here? That's how I feel about every single Kevin Bacon. What's Kevin Bacon doing here?
Matt Damon's another like that.
Why was Kevin Bacon in the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special?
Yeah. What was the one Matt Damon was in Eurotrip where Scotty doesn't know?
Scotty doesn't know.
That's great. There's a movie called Zombie Beavers.
Yes. I heard of this.
Matt Damon is in it.
Really?
Yeah, he's like in a costume. You can barely tell it's him.
I really love that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did all of the Kevin Smith movies like that. They play in themselves for the most part, but playing goofy characters of themselves. I love that they have a sense of humor about it.
Yeah. Phantoms was the bomb, yo. That was fun, man.
Hey, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
How do you like them apples?
Well, to keep the show going, is there anything else you want to talk about before we head over to the news?
There is. I've been going down a rabbit hole. Holy shit. I just said Rodney Dangerfield. I'm getting recommended all kinds of Rodney Dangerfield stuff on my YouTube. Craziness.
Yeah, these phones do listen.
They sure as shit do. So I'd mentioned last week that I was watching Samurai Cop, the best worst movie of all time.
Yep.
We were talking about Samurai Joe, the policeman, and all the insanity that ensues. I never really got into where I found this. There's a channel on YouTube called Space Ice, and they highlight all these terribly bad 80s, 90s trash movies, just like Samurai Cop. And I was watching one last night that was called Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Whoa.
It's about two blonde DEA agents, like typical 80s smoke shows, like always running around, like topless.
They're females?
They're females.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're topless, and they find stolen diamonds, and they just shoot a guy in the face at one point. and the special effects are not special. And check out Space Ice if you ever have time to watch something and you have nothing to watch. This is a great rabbit hole to go down.
That's where I find like Nuki.
Nuki was on. They covered Nuki at one point. Yes,
Did they?
They did.
Oh, there's so much great crap out there. I don't know that channel. I'll check it out, but there's a few that I follow. The other month I watched Reform Schoolgirls. I'm like, what the? But I watched this channel that was like, it's a great movie. And it's got Wendy O. Williams in it and all these, like, you know, they were just selling me the movie. And I was like, this is right up my alley. Let me go see it. And it's just as corny and cheesy as all those 80s flicks.
So this here will show the movie, and I don't want to say Mystery Science Theater 3000 it at all, but like they will talk over it, like, and then for some reason this girl shoots this guy in the face. And like it's almost like the movie trailer's voiceover guy, like explaining the movie. But most of the movies are like 45-minute snippets explaining the plot of these movies, because you're never going to watch the full movie, and you're better off not having to watch the full movie. So it's a great way to catch up on terribly made movies that right up my alley.
I've had the thought of maybe trying a special episode on this show where we watch an old movie like that, and you know, nobody's really going to be able to understand what the movie is just listening to it being turned on the TV here.
Right.
But we do the director's commentary. We ask the listener to go hit play.
Oh.
And then we do some research, figure out, you know, all the interesting things about this turd, and maybe people would actually enjoy that. I don't know.
We're like real-time pop-up video.
Yeah. But if you don't want to turn on the movie, would it be entertaining as an episode?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Good idea, though. Worth trying.
Once in a while, I got them.
Maybe a 100th episode spectacular.
What movie would it be?
Wang Wang?
Thanksgiving? That's one of the first crazy movies you and I have ever seen together.
Holy shit, we discovered that together. Oh, Rat Finka Boo Boo.
No, it's got to be
That's the first one.
Oh, Rat Fink. I love Rat Finka Boo Boo.
Well, that's all I got, man. You watching anything fun at all?
Nope. Still watching my cop videos on YouTube. Videos. I don't know what's going on. I'm just sucked in. Everything else in my feed is all politics, and the rest is cop videos. I don't know what happened to my algorithm.
My whole thing's Phillies baseball, and now Rodney Dangerfield.
I tried to watch a Rodney Dangerfield movie the other day. Meet Wally Sparks. I was like, nope, punch it out. This one sucks.
That wasn't one of the best ones. I mean, Back to School is my favorite for him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Caddyshack's a great movie, but he's only in it for 15 minutes tops. Probably not even.
No, Back to School is the best.
The Triple Lindy.
The Triple Lindy. Oh.
Oh, shit. That was such a good movie. Like I said, Morton Downey Jr.'s in there. You got fucking Paulie from... you remember his whole thing? He had money because he owned a clothing store called... Short and fat. Fat and tall. And the kid goes, hey, you're fat and tall. He goes, yeah, and you're short and ugly. Tell your mother.
Like, all those jokes work so well. It was such a perfect 80s thing.
Man. He's in the hot tub with the girls, and he's like, hey, what's your major? And she's like, English. And he's like, hey, maybe later you can help me straighten out my Longfellow. He was so good at the zingers, man. He's the best. I've never seen anybody better.
Nobody. Not in our generation. Anyway.
No.
Sally Kirkland or Kellerman was in it.
Yeah.
His son was the guy from Christine.
Yep.
The movie Christine.
That's
I don't
right.
remember his name.
I don't either.
Like, that's a guy that's probably at the cons.
Probably. And that woman, she was the English professor.
Yeah. The love interest.
The love interest.
She was a big 80s name.
Really? That movie taught me everything I know about Robert Frost.
Oh, really?
That was his whole final...
Yeah. What he was doing in front of the professors?
He had to do a scholar decathlon or something to prove that he could graduate. And the last thing he had to do was explain Robert Frost poetry.
You know what? That movie popped into my head today. Let me tell you why. Yeah, because I was working with an employee of mine, and he, a young guy, kind of coming up in the marketing industry, and I asked him something, and he answered, and I went, good answer. Good
That's
answer.
right, because Sam Kinison was the professor.
In my head, I pictured Sam Kinison saying, good answer. So I said it like Sam Kinison, good answer. Good answer. He's like, I don't know why Bill's acting so weird. Well, I'm referencing a movie you've never heard of.
Before you were born.
Yeah. And probably before your mother was born, too. We're so young today. All right. Well, how about we get to the news?
Yeah, I got nothing else.
Well, I would like to announce that our show has really grown to the point where we are impacting Hollywood.
I saw this.
You know where I'm going?
I want to believe People magazine picked up our article that we stole from AI.
Wait a minute. Which article are you talking about?
A little article about celebrities using aliases.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the same page.
Okay. I read this in People magazine, but go ahead.
I didn't know that's where you got it. I found it somewhere else. So Michael Keaton, we discovered playing our game last week that his real name is Michael Douglas.
Yes.
But he decided to change his name because there was already a Michael Douglas, which is a common thing. People do this in Hollywood all the time.
I didn't know this. It is a part of the bylaws of the Screen Actors Guild. They can only have one person with a name. You can't have duplicate names in SAG. So that's why so many actors use their aliases.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know where he got Keaton?
No.
He picked it out of a phone book. He goes, yeah, that sounds okay.
Really?
He's like, yeah, that sounds all right. But now, he wants back in.
He wants to change his name back. That's crazy to me. He's so known.
He's 72, maybe? 70-something?
Do you think that's crazy that he wants to, at 72, that he's like, it's really important to me to change my name back to Michael Douglas?
Well, he's getting his credit as like Michael Douglas Keaton or Michael Keaton Douglas. Like he's still keeping Keaton in the credit. And he said he wanted to do it for the last movie he was in that he directed and put out. And he was like, but it got so hectic and crazy putting this movie together that I kind of forgot about it. So now his first movie with this credit to this name is going to be Beetlejuice.
Really?
Yeah.
It just seems so weird to me. It's a branding thing.
I think so too.
I mean, he probably doesn't have that many movies left in him. I mean, he's an older guy. He's going to want to retire eventually. But don't you want to keep the brand recognition going so you milk every single ticket sale you could possibly get?
I think they're still going to bill him as Michael Keaton. I just think when it comes time to like royalties checks, they're getting cut to this guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So I heard, Emma Stone. Emma Stone's real name is Emily. I guess there was an Emma Stone or an Emily Stone, so she had to change it. And she's even talking about wanting to go back. She's like, my name is Emily. My name's not Emma. So all these people call me Emma, and I'm like, I don't know. So I get it. Like, yeah, it's more convenient to go back to your original name. But then there is branding. If somebody sees Michael Douglas Keaton, they may not click right away and go, oh, that's Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And they might just skim right by it. Never know that this actor was in a movie. And if you're a fan of that actor, you just may not even notice that he changed his name. It's risky.
Would it be the kind of thing where you want to have your private life and you want to have like your Hollywood life, and people in your private life can call you whatever the fuck you want them to call you, and you're just known as this to outsiders? I think that's how I would play it.
Yeah, maybe I would too. I just don't get it. Like, it's so important to him that he has to go and take this chance.
Yeah, when I read this story today, I was like, we just talked about this.
Yeah.
And I said Michael Keaton was better. I said all those aliases were better than whatever the birth names were. Now they're going back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so is it in the credits? We're going to find out on Saturday if it's Michael Keaton Douglas or whatever.
I'll stick around so I can watch the teaser trailer for Beetlejuice that I'm sure is going to be there.
Oh, you think there will be one?
They'll tickle your ass.
Something
tickles.
Did you watch that Hot Ones parody with Beetlejuice and Michael Keaton?
I did.
That was unfunny as hell.
I didn't like it as a Hot Ones fan, and I didn't like it as a Beetlejuice fan. So it failed for me for two reasons.
The Beetlejuice portrayal in that skit
Bad.
is actually making me not want to see the movie as much.
It felt so forced.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it wasn't funny. I don't know. That really did make me kind of nervous about what we're going to be walking into on Saturday. Does Beetlejuice still work? Does that character still play?
I'm wasting money for NerdCon. I'm wasting money for Beetlejuice. Motherfucker.
And then the next thing we got to go see, because there's a trailer out, starring Jack Black and Jason Momoa.
This isn't going to be out for a long time.
Oh, really? I didn't catch the date.
I don't know. This is the Minecraft movie. It's been stalled for the past 10 years.
It's live action Minecraft.
And it looks dumb.
Very dumb. Ridiculously dumb.
I think I sent you this story and you wrote back, I don't get it. And I said, yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, what? Jason Momoa's dressed like bizarrely, like he's hard to look at.
They're all, but like for it being live action, they still made it blocky like Minecraft is. Like the graphics of Minecraft are like chunky and blocky. They made it look like that kind of, but still live action. And Jack Black's playing Steve.
Who's Steve?
Steve's like the main character.
Oh, so when you log in, you're Steve?
I guess. I don't know. My kids watch all kinds of cartoons, and the main character is Steve. And then they meet Piggly, who is like a pig.
I remember there was a llama chewing, and it was like a slow motion llama chewing, and then all these weird animals run by, and then it keeps on chewing, and I'm like, they think that's funny? Like,
I don't get it,
they
man.
put that in the trailer? I don't even get it. It's just a chewing llama. What's the gag? So I felt like there's a whole bunch of Minecraft stuff that I just don't get.
Well, I also read the headline of another article, and I was at work. I wasn't able to actually click the article, and it said, "Don't worry, Minecraft isn't for you." And I was like, oh, maybe this phone really is listening to me. So I don't know what that was all about. Maybe this is for diehard Minecraft people. Maybe they think there's enough diehard Minecraft people that if they're the only ones that go, it'll be profitable. I don't know.
You got to give it to this, whatever it is, franchise, whatever, Minecraft. I mean, it's been around forever.
It has been.
My kid's 20. I think I played with him when he was 10. And I remember getting into it. There was a couple nights where he went to bed and I was making these little castles and digging caverns. And I was like, whoa, that's killer. Like, I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah. As a father of two Minecraft players, if I have to go sit through this movie and it's as dumb as that trailer was, I'm not going to be happy. I might be in the same boat as you when it comes to Jack Black. I'm already in that boat with Jason Momoa. How many times can you play the same fucking character?
That's funny. I was thinking, is this the last movie I want to see Jason Momoa in? Like, I think I'm done with, do I even want to see him in this?
Yeah.
I think I'm done with Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I think he's run his course.
I agree.
Jack Black's run his course. Who else is out there? I don't even know who else has run their course, but yeah. I wasn't excited seeing Jason Momoa in this.
Jason Momoa's biggest reach as an actor is the length of his hair. It's the only thing that changes. Everything else, he's the same fucking guy. Show in and show out.
Has The Rock run its course?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People are getting angry with The Rock. He's doing things that people are like, man, fuck this guy.
I've heard. Yeah, I heard he's losing tons of followers on his social media accounts.
Yeah. I don't know.
Getting called out being a shill for a lot of things.
Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you could play it that way. You can be like, look, I know I'm not going to be famous forever. Let me take every deal and endorsement and cash in.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing it.
Tell you one thing. He's no Kevin Bacon.
Quick game. Connect The Rock to Kevin Bacon.
Oh, you just did that with that one.
The Rock?
You said Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, the Gain and Pain?
Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain. I never saw that.
I didn't either.
I'm not a big fan of that whole Fast and Furious.
Me neither. That wasn't Fast and Furious.
That was a spinoff, wasn't it?
No, you're thinking of Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, what's Pain and
Pain
Gain?
and Gain, he was a weightlifter. It was him and Kevin Hart, I think.
Too many Rock movies. Too many. Well, we got some Star Wars news. This is from Screen Rant. Star Wars Mandalorian movie will relaunch the entire franchise, they think. It's certainly looking like The Mandalorian and Grogu will be used by Lucasfilm to revive and relaunch the entire Star Wars franchise. Recently, there's always been a live-action Star Wars show right around the corner. while movies have been non-existent since 2019's Rise of Skywalker. However, the next Star Wars movie should be uniquely positioned to give the franchise what I believe will be some new life and a much-needed jumpstart. Currently, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is the title of this thing, is set to release in May 2026. In the interim, only 2 live-action Star Wars shows are confirmed to be released before that. That would be Skeleton Crew.
With Jude Law.
And is that with Jude Law? Oh, that's the kids thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Andor 2 is supposedly getting made, which is weird because people didn't love Andor 2 or Andor 1. Andor is brilliant. It should have done better.
It's good enough to have staying power. Well, that toxic fan base, they don't like anything.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They're doing the same thing that they're doing on the MCU side. They're kind of like pumping the brakes, slow down. Let's make only good things. Sure, we've got some garbage in the pipeline. We got to flush the pipes. We got to get the turd through. And then we can start doing stuff with this Grogu and Mandalorian.
But read the title again. So Mandalorian and Grogu are going to relaunch the entire Star Wars.
The entire franchise is what they think.
That sounds dumb. Like relaunching sounds like you forget about what happened before, which would be including the original trilogy, to relaunch everything with whole new canon.
I take it more like what they're going to do with the MCU and Secret Wars.
So to start the next chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm okay with that. I was a little confused by the wording of that. I thought there was it was like that Doomcock thing where they're going to use like fucking the Jedi Master Makers or something from Lego to redo the entire fucking What If. And I was like, that's bullshit. That's stupid. They got to do something. Ahsoka was a turd. Obi-Wan didn't do that great. To your point, Andor didn't do that great. And now this last Acolyte, we know what happened there. It's still happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I cut part of that last story. I was just like, this drama around the Acolyte is so political.
Yeah.
And it hasn't slowed down at all. There's so many, I'll go into it a little bit, but the issue for anybody who doesn't know is the movie or the show didn't do well, but it was a very representative show. It was very diverse. They called somebody a they in there, that type of thing. So when the show didn't do well and all the fans turned on it, the people who were offended the most are the people who thought that the fans had turned on it because of the wokeness.
I was going to say that wasn't the problem with the show. The problem with the show is that it was not a great story. They did that thing like where, almost like She-Hulk, where they turned and the show didn't do as well as we wanted it to, so we blame the fans for not liking it. Yeah. It's like, well, no.
That's the new move.
It's bullshit.
Well, I started thinking about it. It's like, if that's true, if the male Star Wars fans hate anything that has a woman attached to it or anything, well, then how does that explain why everybody loves Ripley in Aliens?
Yeah.
There's so many cases where the fandom is happy to accept a non-white character. All of Star Wars is fucking non-white characters because it's aliens.
Yeah, I mean, George Lucas he had to eat a shit sandwich for all the original trilogy being basically white English males, except for Leia.
I can't ever see myself noticing in a movie, hey, there's a diverse cast. I could never see myself even noticing it, let alone be upset by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my whole anger is that they're just not writing good shit. They're letting politics dictate the scripts, and I want to go back to good Star Wars stories.
I think you cut the entire story. I think our point was, they cast the guy from Squid Game because he had a lot of eyes still on him from what he did in Squid Game. And then they cast that Manny Jacinto, and he was in that Good Place sitcom with, what's his name? Ted Danson.
That's a great show.
Yeah, I never watched it, but a lot of people did. And people that I know that enjoyed The Acolyte were like, oh, I want to see more of Manny Jacinto. Like, he did really good in it. So I feel like they cast these two individuals not because of race or anything. It was because they had a lot of eyeballs on them. So they were trying to use the star power of who they cast to get people to watch this show rather than write a good Star Wars story. That was my problem with it. Not that who was in it. It was just, it wasn't a good Star Wars story.
My problem was after the show ended, the main star, I don't know who anybody is in these things, but she came out and she's like, oh, am I upset that it ended? No, I was expecting it. All those men and their toxicity, like I saw it coming to an end. It's the same thing that Rachel Ziegler did with Snow White.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, Prince Charming, that's a stalker. Why would that worked today. Like, change it. And then all of a sudden, it was changed, and everybody threw their
oh my god,
they flipped their desks because they couldn't believe that they were going to change the story that much for political reasons.
That Snow White movie, that trailer, that's such uncanny valley. Like, I can't watch that.
Imagine what the people at Disney are like. Oh my God, what did that kid just say on social media? That kid just tanked this movie.
Well, Snow White was like Walt Disney's favorite thing they ever put out. It was like the first full-length theatrical animated movie.
Yeah.
And now they took the fucking franchise and they shit on it?
It's one thing to be like, well, we're going to try some stuff in here. Woke was popular. Let's see if we can make some money on it. But it's another thing when you have an actress or an actor that's just going and creating their own narrative. Did you hear about the stuff going on with, this is a great example. We're talking about how much we love shows on YouTube like Screen Crush and New Rock Stars.
Yeah.
There's a scandal going on with one of the New Rock Stars guys, that guy Eric
Voss.
Eric Voss.
I like him.
Go check it out. So he's actually getting called out for being a Disney shill.
Oh, I heard this.
Yeah. So Disney will bring people in who they believe are people that they don't say, hey, I'm bringing you in because you won't give us a bad review, but it's more like, come on in, we're going to wine and dine you so that you don't give us a bad review.
Oh, people I watch on YouTube do that all the time. And they're like, hey, we were invited out to this special event by Disney. Thank you for having us come out. And it's so that they give a positive review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now everybody's trashing Eric Voss, saying you just got into bed with Disney and what you're saying now is invalid, that your opinion never matters anymore.
Was that in response to the whole Deadpool live action in the parks now out in Disneyland?
No, it was in response to his defending the Acolyte.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right.
Because he basically said he's told people to fuck off if they didn't get in line, kind of.
I heard him say, like, yeah, I'm not what people have made me out to be online. Like, I don't even like going to Disney parks. Like, I go there to take my kid there, but, like, I'm not a huge fan of all this.
Backpedaling.
Hamana. I saw him just do a video about this new Agatha All Along series coming out.
I am not looking forward to that at all. That new trailer dropped, and I'm still like, I don't care.
Yeah, they're like, who's this kid playing? I don't care.
I don't either, but I think I know who it is.
Mephisto.
The kid?
They're already saying that.
The kid is Wiccan. The kid is Scarlet Witch's kid from the WandaVision show.
Maybe. This Agatha All Along, as much as you're not looking forward to it, is part 2 in a trilogy with WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and a yet-to-be-announced third witches thing that's going to be tied all together.
Yeah, I said it before. I don't like witches. I don't want Frankenstein in my MCU. I don't want... Blade is barely an exception. I don't even like vampires enough to want to see vampires in the MCU.
Yeah, Blade was cool.
Only because he had a sword and there was a lot of sword play. Maybe Agatha will have a sword and I'll love it.
I think it's just going to be a wand, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, every once in a while, you see a show come up and you're like, this is going to stink, like that Echo show. That show wasn't actually that bad. There was some great episodes of that Echo show.
I was like, what the hell's an Echo show? I was thinking Echo the Dolphin from the old Sega. No, it was the one with Kingpin and okay.
Wasn't absolutely awful.
Maya, that was her name.
Maya, yeah. Wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was the Andor of MCU.
Maybe. Andor is really good. Andor is really good because they spent a lot of time building practical sets, making it look like the 70s. So, because it was right around New Hope era.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. It's a great production. It's a little slow, but for a mature Star Wars viewer, it's a great show.
It was good.
Yeah. Oh, and then I heard one last little Star Wars story. Sigourney Weaver is evidently going to be in Grogu and The Mandalorian.
All right.
I love Sigourney Weaver.
She's great.
She's great. So she's doing that, and she's doing the next, I can't believe they're still doing these friggin' Avatar movies. So she's going to be in those too.
Oh, but she was in the first Avatar.
I think she was in the last one. She was the voice of the kid
right,
version of
because her character died in part 1, but she has a child in part 1.
Spoiler.
That's in part 2. These movies came out a long time ago.
Yeah. Right. That's well beyond the spoiler gag order. All right, moving on. Who's Ed O'Neill?
Ed O'Neill is Al Bundy.
Ed O'Neill found out Married with Children was canceled in a very awkward way. Did you read this story?
No.
Did you hear about this?
I did not hear about this.
I like this story. O'Neill recalled how he was back in his Ohio town at a bed and breakfast, enjoying the outdoors, when a car with a just married sign and tin cans pulled up. I thought, oh, they just got married. So I was standing there, and they got out of the car, and it was the husband and wife, he said. She was in the gown, and he was in the tux. And he said, oh my God, it's Al Bundy in Ohio. And I said, yeah, congratulations, you got married. Then came the awkward moment. The woman said, we're so sorry about your show. And I said, what do you mean? And the guy said, oh my God, he doesn't know. It's on the radio. You got canceled.
What?
That's how he found out. Isn't that great? The Modern Family star then explained how the newlyweds felt so bad they invited him inside for some champagne. They said, oh, we're so sorry. And I said, I'd rather hear it from you. So yeah, I came inside. I love champagne.
Whoa, buddy.
And then there was a little tag in the article. Christina Applegate, said she could relate to O'Neill's story, remembering she found out about the cancellation of the show, quote, from a guy who knew a guy who worked for my assistant at the time. That's how I found out. They never called us.
So Fox was pretty shitty, huh?
How about that?
Damn. That's funny. How the two newlyweds just randomly pulled up.
You got to think that show was probably on its last legs.
That show did run its course. Yeah. We talked about Seven before. Wasn't it the kid's name?
Yeah, that's the jump the shark moment.
That was really jump the shark.
When he had a kid. So he's probably like, oh, it got canceled? I knew it was going to happen. So that's probably why he was happy to go get some champagne. But imagine if you weren't happy to have your show canceled. What if you didn't see it coming?
Yeah.
And some guy just tells you they heard it on the radio.
Or did that show jump the shark way before, when it went from Steve Darcy to the guy from Revenge of the Nerds?
Oh, I still liked him. I was okay.
You did like him?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was still good after that?
That was Seven. When Seven came in.
That was the nail, man. That was done. He went on to play the dad in Modern Family.
Yeah. He was in, wasn't he in Wayne's World for a hot minute? He was in Ford.
Do you know that if you stab a man in the dead of winter, steam will rise from his wounds?
How do you do this?
Indians believed it was the man's spirit escaping from his body. Hey, that's great, Al.
He was in that Ford Fairlane movie, too, if you remember that, with Andrew Dice Clay. When Andrew Dice Clay was becoming a big star, they gave him a movie.
I remember that.
Yeah. I was such an Al Bundy fan that I was like, watching everything he was in. And I like Modern Family. I love him in that, too.
Yeah, that was definitely a great show. He wasn't the strong part of it, but his character was good.
Yeah.
Ty Burrell played one of the best sitcom characters ever in that show.
Absolutely.
So, hello.
He's good. We were talking last episode about retro games.
Yeah.
GameStop. I don't know how the hell they're still in business. GameStop announces launch of new retro GameStop stores. So they're rebranding either the whole store or portions of their store as retro GameStop. So it says here, GameStop, the controversial retailer that was recently behind the closure of the beloved magazine Game Informer. I used to get that. I like Game Informer.
I remember that.
Has just announced the launch of several retro GameStops in the U.S. where people will be able to purchase classic games for a range of old consoles. Is that going to make any money? Is the retro market in need of retro GameStop?
We talked last week about those two brand new Atari consoles you can get. I thought they were going to come preloaded, the 7800 and the retro 2600 you can buy now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you can go to GameStop and buy carts, that's how they're going to do it. I can't imagine it, though.
I think that's the last, straw in this company's.
There was a retro game store up in Salem when I was up there. I sent you a few pictures from what they had inside. They had like completely refurbished yellow colored Super Nintendos, and they had some Atari stuff. It was crazy.
I went to a flea market up here, Green Dragon,
Oh, yeah.
And there's a retro game store in there, and there wasn't a damn person around.
Yeah, but their retro games are like Xbox One. They still have like Xbox One stuff in there.
Well, that counts.
Xbox One's out right now.
You don't think that's retro?
Well, no, I mean like Xbox One's the current system.
Oh, it is? I thought they had
No. It went Xbox 360, Xbox One.
And it hasn't changed since?
No. They've released like Xbox One S and Xbox One X, which is like different chipsets, but it's still the Xbox One.
All right.
You probably have one around here someplace.
Yeah, I just wanted that covered. Not even plugged in.
So I don't know how much of a business there is for retro games.
Yeah. It's certainly not going to save GameStop. You got to flush that brand already. Get rid of it.
They tried to short it.
Yeah.
They fooled them.
That was fun. I was part of that. I watched all that happen. The Wall Street Bets Reddit group that was pushing that out. I watched all the old white guys who, are totally just making so much money on the stock market and loving the fact that regular people can't figure it out. Now, all of a sudden, Robinhood, that app comes out.
Yep.
And regular people are figuring it out and fucking with the stock market.
A lot of people lost money trying to short that. And they had a whole movie about it, right?
Yeah, they had a documentary. I think it's on Netflix. So more on the GameStop announcement. The announcement was made yesterday on Twitter with the company tweeting, "The classics are back. New retro GameStops are now spawning near you." The announcement linked to a store locator and included a set of images with a list of consoles that will reportedly be in stock. This list of platforms includes NES, SNES, Game Boy Advanced, Game Boy, N64, Nintendo DS, Wii, Wii U, Nintendo GameCube, Xbox, Xbox 360, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS Vita? Vita? V-I-T-A?
Yeah, that was a portable, I think.
Never heard of that. Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn. Barely remember the Sega Saturn. And the Dreamcast. I loved the Dreamcast.
I had the Dreamcast. That was good.
And then it says here, so in other words, there are absolutely no Atari platforms listed at the moment.
I'm a little surprised Nintendo never took their own brand and did their own store. Like it's just a Nintendo store. I mean, fucking M&M's has their own store.
Apple has their own store.
Coca-Cola has their own store.
Yeah, it wouldn't be crazy.
Why wouldn't Nintendo? Like, you start reading off that list, I was like, there's decades of great consoles Nintendo put out. Why wouldn't they go direct to consumer? Like in a Times Square, like an anchor store kind of thing.
Maybe they are in Japan, but they aren't that big here to warrant a store.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
And yet they're putting Nintendo Land in the Universal Studios.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's the one in Hollywood. There already is Nintendo Land.
What do you do in Nintendo Land? Do you just run around and dodge Bowser and jump down tubes?
You get like a wristband that you can wear, and you can go around like punching blocks, and it gives you coins. If you get enough coins, you can go into the one ride and like play the last boss. It's pretty wild. There's thwomps. It's like you're walking through a Nintendo or a Super Mario Brothers level.
Are there Koopa Troopa Paratroopers?
There are Koopa Troopa Paratroopers. Donkey Kong's there. The one whole ride is like Mario Kart.
That's cool.
You wear VR goggles where you like drive a go-kart kind of thing. Bowser's Castle, Yoshi Speedway, Yoshi's Island, I guess it was. Rainbow Road.
It's amazing how fast they change that shit. Because I was there, 4 or 5 years ago, and that wasn't there.
Yeah. Right now, I think it's only in California.
Oh, I was at the Florida one.
They're bringing it to Florida, though. Yeah.
All right, a few more quick things. Alien Romulus is a hit.
I know.
Did you see that coming?
No.
Me neither. People love it.
When I saw that preview with like the face huggers and the chest breakers and all that, I was like, this looks disgusting. They're like pulling shit out of people's throats. And I'm like, why'd they have to go there?
My first day back at the office on Tuesday, my employee Chelsea, she's probably 35. She knows I'm into the pop culture stuff. She burst right into my office and she's like, have you seen Aliens yet? And I was like, I didn't plan on it.
Yeah.
She's like, it's great.
Really?
Yeah. She's very intelligent. She's really knows her pop culture and she's got good taste. So, I take, that recommendation to heart.
Sure.
She loved it. She loved it. The only thing I heard about it is there's just way too much fan service.
Oh, yeah.
And it's directed by that Fede Alvarez,
Yeah.
I think. He did that Evil Dead remake.
Dead.
So he's a good director.
Yep.
I just never thought in a million years anybody would care anymore about these damn aliens.
Yeah. We're still getting fucking Planet of the Apes movies. Aren't we done with that shit?
We are?
They keep coming out.
There's a new one?
Now we're beneath the land of the Planet of the Apes or some bullshit. I don't know. There's always something streaming with apes. Dr. Zayas, give me a fucking break.
Everywhere I look, apes.
That's been going on since long before Aliens. That's like, what, 1960s?
Yeah. That's a old franchise.
It's fucking crazy.
Is that the oldest franchise that's still around?
No, Godzilla got to be.
Oh, yeah. James Bond's pretty old.
Yeah, Ian Fleming made a lot of fucking money off of that.
Well, 2 more to go. Leaked footage of the Fantastic Four set showing The Thing.
Okay.
So we actually see how they're going to do The Thing. I've been wondering about, are they going to make The Thing like they make the Hulk? Is it going to be a full CGI thing?
Yeah.
How are they going to try it? Because they've done it a couple times. They've done it with Michael Chiklis.
And the guy playing it now, that Bacharach guy, he's from The Bear.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was Burt Bacharach.
No, that would be a whole different movie.
So do you think for this Bacharach guy, do you think they're doing the Michael Chiklis version with a costume, or do you think they're doing the other Fantastic Four version with Miles Teller and where The Thing was a CGI monster? What do you think they're going to do?
Do a combo of both. There'll be some practical, but then they don't have him in a makeup chair for 4 hours every day. So some like maybe foam rubber hands and like the rest of him CGI.
Maybe.
Like a composite kind of thing.
Well, what I saw in the leaked footage is they're literally taking a rubber mask and putting it on the actor.
Shit.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it might be a mix of, it's like you said, I think they're going to have practical and then color it up with digital.
That makes more sense.
Because that's what they did with Iron Man. Like when you see the Iron Man suit and Robert Downey Jr. walking around in it, it's really not that special. But somehow you see it on the screen, and you're like, whoa, that thing looks really cool and high tech. Because they CGI'd the little plastic, costume that he's wearing.
Yes.
And at the same time, there was a leak from the new Superman movie that's being filmed, and they have an unknown villain in there. Somebody with a U on their chest. Nobody knows who it is.
Oh.
Yeah. So James Gunn is making some interesting decisions too over there, making the Superman movie.
And we're sure the guy with the U is not Mr. Terrific that we did a story on before, where he's a fellow superhero.
I forgot. Is that a good guy?
He's a good guy, Mr. Terrific.
I guess the thing I read thought this guy was a bad guy.
Oh, right.
He's
right,
dark
right.
and he looks kind of evil.
And he has a U on his.
He has a U on him. You know who it is? It's Underdog.
Simon Bar Sinister's coming? Polly Purebred?
Oh my God. Do you ever see the Underdog movie?
No.
So bad.
Did you ever see the Mr. Peabody movie?
No.
It's funny.
Really?
I really enjoyed the Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie, yes.
That was made by the Meatballs guys. It's Raining Meatballs. What was that movie?
Oh, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah, I have a feeling that movie you're talking about was made by the same guy, so it's that animation style.
Yeah.
It's funny?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And then they had a Mr. Peabody and Sherman like variety show kind of thing on Netflix that my kids were watching. I liked that too.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, the Wayback Machine's a big part of it.
You know there's a real Wayback Machine on the internet?
No.
It's waybackmachine.com. You can go there and it'll redirect you to archive.org or something like that.
I use archive.org a lot to get our sound drops.
Do you really?
I do.
Well, there's a section in that entire website where you could go look at websites that they archived. I mean, you want to see what a website looked like in 1996? Go to the Wayback Machine.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. So rounding it out with the last announcement, there's a trailer that I'm excited about, very excited about. Brother Steve, I'm sure, is very excited about this. You could care less. It's called Nothing But a Good Time. It's a new documentary coming out based on the book Nothing But a Good Time, which is one of the greatest books for anybody who loves hair metal, because it's a complete expose. Is that the right way?
Expose, yes.
Of the entire hair metal scene. And the book, if this documentary does as well as the book, I'm going to love it. Because the book's just like, all right, here's all the shit that really happened. So as a kid in the late 80s, we had magazines like Metal Edge and stuff like that, Rip Magazine, Kerrang. We had all these things that were basically telling you about your favorite rock stars. And there were so many. There were new bands popping up every week. This moment in time just created so many hair metal bands. But the business of hair metal, the business of music, is fascinating to me. So when I read the book and I was learning all these things about who really hated each other, who loved each other, what deals broke because of who, and all the scandals and all the bad behavior, it was one of the best books I've ever read.
Do you think they'll get into the fake Nikki Sixx?
I don't know. I mean, they may have in the book. I don't remember. But like now, since it's a documentary, they got to be, selective on what they talk about.
Yeah.
and they're going and getting people from back in the day. Like I remember seeing Bret Michaels in the trailer from Poison. So hopefully it's as good as the book. But I was so excited.
I just read a story about Bret Michaels. So you know he's a Pennsylvania guy, right? Yeah. He's like river tubing down the Susquehanna River. Like that's where he found his happy place.
Really?
Yeah. He spent the summer tubing down the Susquehanna.
He's got diabetes.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not overweight or anything like that. No. It's just a hereditary thing. And I have a friend who knows him, and like all through COVID, like you couldn't see him. He was terrified to leave for good reason. So that's great to hear. He's finally out and enjoying life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a local boy.
Yeah.
I met his mom once.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Man, I was just in Allentown. He's from that area, like Harrisburg. You get out to Allentown. All those areas are kind of the same as you leave Berks County, further away from Philadelphia. And Allentown is where I went and saw my very first concert. I was 15. It was the Allentown Fairground. It was Poison.
Okay.
And
open up and say, ah?
Yeah. And I wiggled my way to the front row, and I was crushed by a sea of people behind me, because that's how concerts used to be.
Sure.
And I loved it so much. So the other day I've seen Kiss there. I've seen Slaughter there. I've seen Tesla there. I've seen a bunch of bands there. I saw Ozzy there playing with Alice in Chains. That was a weird tour. So the other weekend, just the other day, just 5 days ago, I went there again to watch a Kiss tribute band. And I was just thinking, wow, I'm literally around the corner from the first place I ever saw Kiss. So this Kiss tribute band comes out. Dude, they looked just like Kiss. They were old as hell. But somehow they looked exactly like the band Kiss.
I was hoping it was going to be Mini Kiss.
No, it wasn't Mini Kiss. I would have loved to see Mini Kiss. They were called Strutter. And they were so good. I had such a good time watching a Kiss tribute band. But I'm telling you, every one of these guys performing were like 70, 80.
Damn.
It was ridiculous.
Well, now's their time to strike while the iron's hot, because the real Kiss ain't touring no more.
Well, with this thing coming out, maybe there's going to be a quick resurgence of hair metal.
Maybe.
And then maybe it'll be the end of it and it dies and moves on. Because you even said one time on this show, everything old comes back around again. Yeah. I feel like the 90s are starting to come back around now.
It's usually a 30-year thing. So the 50s came back around in the 80s, and they'll come back around again, like the style and shit like that. So, yeah, I'm not doing the math too good right now, but it's usually every 30 years it's a cycle.
Well, we're due to enjoy our old music one more time. And I'm ready for it.
Yeah, open up and say, that was one of my first albums, man.
Was it really?
Yeah.
One of my first was on cassette.
This was a cassette.
Yeah. Well, I love it. To wrap up the show, go watch this thing when it comes out on Netflix. Nothing but a good time. Sounds like a great time. Well, that's all I got, Scott. You want to wrap us up?
Looking forward to Saturday. We'll go out. We'll see some nerdage. We'll watch the Beetlejuice, and you're all going to hear about it next week. So come on back, tell a friend, and we'll see you then.